Hello, my mathematicians. This is Miss Foster with Math in Focus, Grade 4, Chapter 7, Lesson 4, Rounding Decimals. We use rounding as our primary tool of estimation, and we do that with whole numbers. Works almost exactly the same way with decimals. And it's so important to be able to round because when you ask adults, what do you do mathematically on a daily basis? Your average adult will admit that they do a lot of rounding and estimating. Anytime I'm in the grocery store or looking on Amazon, you know how they do that where they put like $1.99 for a price? They do that specifically because they're trying to trick us. They're trying to make us think that the product is only $1 when it's only a penny away from being $2. And maybe that's not such a big deal when it's just $1 or two, but what if you were looking for a house and you knew that you could afford a $100,000 house, but someone was like, well, it's $199,000. Oh, I can afford that would be the wrong thing. So adults do a lot of rounding and estimating in their lives. And it works almost exactly the same way. Now, rounding means we're going to get close, but we're going to be easy. We have to look one place down from where we want to estimate. What are you talking about, Miss Foster? Well, here's the deal. If I am trying to buy a vacation for my family where we're going to be flying and staying in hotels all over the world, that might cost $6,991. Well, let me tell you something. I don't care about the single dollars. I care more about the single thousands. I don't really care about the $10. They're so small compared to the thousands that I'm not even going to worry about them. What I really want to know is how many thousands of dollars do I need to expect to pay? And so if this is the place of value that I'm interested in, I'm going to want to look one step down from there in the hundreds place. And the hundreds place will tell me, am I closer to getting another thousand or farther away? Now, the rule of thumb in rounding is if it's in 5 or above, digits 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, we round up. And what we mean by that is we are going to take this single thousand and bump it up 1. Now, when I look at 991 here, that is pretty close to a whole nother single thousand. So it would make sense to think of this not as $6,000 per person, but $7,000 per person. But sometimes I'm really interested in, maybe I'm interested in the price of a TV set. And I know that I'm going to spend hundreds of dollars on it, but maybe there's a difference right between $100 and $200. So maybe I want to know these two places of value. If that's the case, once again, I have to look one place down where there's a 9. And if I actually look through all of this, is 91 close to another 100 or far away from it? It's actually close to another 100, isn't it? So I'm going to go right ahead and round the 69 up to 70 and make it $7,000. It just depends how specific and tiny you want to be. And it works the same way with places of value that are decimals. So let's take a look at this one. It says round decimals to the nearest whole number. Aha! Remember I just said you want to know how specific you want to get? Well, in this exercise, they care about the whole number, and that means single ones. They want to know about that. They don't care about those little teeny tiny tenths. No, they care about the single ones. Like if you said to me, Miss Foster, I need to know how many candy bars you have, and I'm like, well, I have 7/10 here. You'd be like, I don't want your chewed on candy bar. Which ones do you have wrapped? It's exactly like that. So 3 and 7/10 right here is between 3 and 4. Those are the two whole numbers that they are between. Which is it nearer to? Is it nearer to 3 or nearer to 4? I think we can see, and again, we're using halfway here. 1/2 is equal to 5/10. And you want to know something else crazy? It's also equal to 50 hundredths. Think about it. 50 plus 50 equals 100. And so using that halfway benchmark to figure out if we're going up or down, that's part of it too. And you did a lot of that with fractions work. Well, I can see that 3 and 7/10 is closer to 4 than to 3. So rounding it to the nearest whole number would be to round it to either just 4, and you can leave it like that, or 4 and no tenths. And you might choose to do this if you want people to be aware that you've been thinking about tenths. I don't know. Let's try another one. Ooh, here we have hundreds. But let's look again here. They want us to get to the nearest whole number. Well, that means we're looking at the single one here. So 1 and 84 hundredths. What two whole numbers in the single ones place is it between? And I like to sort of put it over here like this and actually go up or down. I've got 2, and there's my decimal point, and 1, and there's my decimal point. I do not need to put zeros here because I'm not even going to pay attention to them. But you know what? If it helps you, put them there. Put them there because you're allowed to. You have the power. Wow, what happened to that 0? It's called multitasking, guys. Oh, no. I'll just make another one here. Could do it like that, and I could make them all even. Now, as I do this, do you see what it's closer to? See, I only care about the single ones place, but I'm going to use the information one place down. And 84 hundredths is definitely closer to 2 than it is to 1. So I will round this to 2, which I again can leave just like that. Or I could go ahead and put that in there. Find the missing numbers. Round 24 hundredths to the nearest tenth. This might be if you had just a handful of nickels and dimes or change, and you were trying to figure out how many of these lollipops can I get. So rounding 24 hundredths, perhaps to a quarter, might be helpful. In this case, we care about the tenths place, and once again, it will help me, and so because I have the power, I'm going to go ahead and just stick that 0 in the hundredths place. Because the fraction actually, or the decimal I'm thinking about, is in the hundredths place. And then I want to know, is 24 closest to 20 or 30? And whoa, don't you agree? We're not adding another single one here. It's closer to having just 2 tenths. So I could even write it like this or that. Round 5 and 17 hundredths to the nearest tenth. Aha! How close do they want us to get this time again? We need to think about the tenths place. But that means that we will be looking at the hundredths place to give us some information. So 5 and 17 hundredths is between 5 and 1/10, or 10 hundredths, and 5 and 2/10, or 20 hundredths. And it is closer to the 20 hundredths one, so let's round this up to 5 and 20 hundredths, or 5 and 2/10. Round each decimal to the nearest whole number and the nearest tenth. Whoa! I used to play a game with this called Round, 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 where you'd have to pick, I'm rounding this to the tenths place, I'm rounding this to the hundredths place. On our last lesson, I learned I should have one color for the whole number and one color for the tenths. So let's just do the whole numbers first. 3 and 49 hundredths. Well, the two whole numbers it's between are 4 on up here and 3 down here. It's so close, isn't it? But we would look here to see, is it 5 and above or 4 and below? It's 4 and below, so we're actually going to round this one down. And just having that system in place just helps us to be consistent. I'm just going to take a break here to tell you that I've had upper school teachers say to me, why, Miss Foster, do all the lower school teachers teach this kind of rounding? There's a more specific form that we teach in upper school. But when we tell the kids about it, they're like, I don't have to do that because my lower school teacher said I'd do it this way. So I just want to get you ready for this, guys. As you become stronger and stronger mathematicians, dealing with higher and higher levels of math, there is a more specific way to round this, and your teachers will introduce it to you. And when they do, I want you to think, we have arrived. I am ready for the harder thing. We'll keep it here for lower school. All right, how about 4 and 85 hundredths? It's between the whole numbers of 4 and 5. 85 hundredths is way closer to 5 than to 4. So I'm going to round this up to 5. And I can use 2 zeros there if I want, or no zeros. Let's talk about the tenths place now. We are between, this time, if we look at the tenths, I'm going to erase that bit there. In the tenths place, we are between 3 and 5/10 and 3 and 4/10. And if I wanted to add some zeros there, I can. Tiny red mark, we need to get away, because now we care about the hundredths place, because they'll tell us. And I hope that you see, like I do, that, whoa, 3 and 49 hundredths is just 1/100th, one teeny penny away from 350. So I'm going to round that to 3 and 5/10ths. Or if I like to have that zero there, I can. Over here now, what are we going to do with these guys? Well, if I look in the tenths place, 4 and 8/10ths is between 4 and 8/10ths below, 4 and 85 hundredths is between 4 and 8/10ths below and 4 and 9/10ths above. Once again, writing the zeros help me here because I know that if somebody gave me 85 and said round it, I would round it up to 90. So that helps me. You should be making those connections as you work. And again, 4.9 is all you need, but 4.90, 4 and 90 hundredths is equal to 4 and 9/10ths. This is just simpler. Friends, you've got 4 workbook pages to play around with this, pages 13 through 16. If you get stuck, rewatch this video, maybe get out your fraction bars, although might not be so much. I'm not sure I would draw bar models here. I think I would probably draw number lines because those were helpful to me. And you can always come see me at office hours. I've got to tell you guys, if it's summer, I won't be here. But for the rest of the school year, I'm at my computer at 1:15, and not that many people come to see me. So if you're at all confused about this, please come see me. I would love to play decimals with you. Hey guys, thanks for playing decimals and rounding with me. I promise you will use this later in life. Bye-bye for now.